And then I went to 2 weddings where I was single, but I think I just told everyone I was a lesbian.
Hey, welcome to Lady Date. I'm Karle.
And I'm Emily. We're not your conventional bitches, and we don't have the same views as other ladies out there.
Nope, and today we're bitching about marriage. Before we get into our thoughts on marriage, we wanted to kind of dive into the history. So during the 11th century, marriage was about securing an economic or political advantage. The wishes of the married couple, much less their consent, were of little importance. The bride, particularly, was assumed to bow to her father's wishes and the marriage arrangements made on her behalf.
As early as the 12th century, Roman Catholic theology experts and writers referred to marriage as a sacrament, a sacred ceremony tied to experiencing God's presence. However, it wasn't until the 16th century that marriage was officially deemed one of the 7 sacraments. Marriage vows, as couples recite them today, you know how it goes, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, dates back nearly 500 years.
That's insane. And if we want to touch on divorce a little bit, before 1858, divorce was rare. However, over 150 years later, depending on your religion or personal circumstance, you still needed adequate evidence to prove the marriage wasn't working. And that still might not be good enough. So even in our grandparents' generation, divorce was not common.
All right, now it's time for the good stuff. Why we don't really agree with the idea of marriage and all of its, traditions and whatnot. So I think we both agree. I'm a little bit of a frugal person.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not stingy, but I know how to save. And I just cannot wrap my head around the fact that some people spend up to $100,000 for one day.
It's crazy.
The money is the big issue.
Yeah, I think we both agree. It's the biggest reason why we can't wrap our head around marriage. Especially the wedding dress. Some people spend like $5,000 to $10,000 on a dress. This is like a bigger version of prom, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like I spent like $80 on a prom dress, but I know people that spent like
Clearance.
$200. Yeah. Remember Deb?
Oh my God.
Deb was the jam.
Yes.
I don't think you can get a wedding dress at Deb, but you can definitely get your wedding dress on the cheap. Like my sister got hers for probably $700, but it was like a secondhand.
Exactly.
But you couldn't even tell. It was like in perfect condition.
But, we're going to, $5,000, $10,000 on a dress that may or not be comfortable, but it looks pretty in pictures.
Right.
And you got to wear that damn thing all day.
All day.
long.
And some people, and I'm kind of like basing this off TLC's.
Say yes to the dress.
Yes.
Trademark.
The greatest show, honestly. But, a lot of people get a reception dress too. Like they'll get a completely different second dress that's like less
I can
poofy.
move in this.
Right.
And
It's
why
like,
didn't you just get one you can move in?
I don't know, but I guess if you can rationalize that, or if you have like an unlimited budget, I don't know, people just like to splurge and get like designer dresses and things.
Parents' paycheck.
It's crazy. And I also feel like another kind of aspect of this is that as a guest, we're kind of at the age where a lot of our friends have already gotten married or are still getting married, so we're going to like a lot of weddings.
I did not pay for this live action thing.
No.
I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
So not only a guest, but like you and I have both been in weddings.
Yes, which is
Can
super
we talk about
expensive.
That? Let's talk about so you're in a wedding.
Yeah.
You're expected to pay a little bit more for the bridal shower gift.
Right.
Or some might actually have you pay for some of the bridal shower activities.
Oh gosh.
Then there's
That's a whole thing.
the bachelorette us it's just bachelorette expenses.
Yes.
The bride isn't supposed to pay for anything because they're paying for the wedding.
Yeah. I think
Why do I gotta pay for all this shit?
I know. And it's like, I didn't ask to be in the wedding is usually the issue. But like for my sister's wedding, obviously I was like the maid of honor, so I didn't really have a choice. But she did a bachelorette trip,
on your birthday,
which was over my birthday weekend in June. So like actually weather-wise, we went to North Carolina. It was like really nice. It was kind of like a little mini vacation. But a lot of people do stuff even bigger than that, like a whole big trip. We went for like 4 days. And it was like action packed. We had stuff planned every day,
It's
like
a
an
relatively
itinerary.
new thing, the destination bachelorette, bachelor parties. Remember when it was just going getting drunk at a bar?
Sure. Or like
We missed that. And I feel like the going out to one place stopped after we turned 21.
Yes.
Now it's like, okay, let's go to Hawaii for 4 days and celebrate marriage.
Right. Or like Vegas or like some big trip. I don't know. I think Nashville is like a super popular destination. Yeah. So it's kind of...
I feel like Vegas is a dude thing though.
That's true. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of expenses that you have to kind of just like, you just have to do it. That your bridesmaid dress is like couple $100 and you have to get it altered.
Did you pay for your own hair and makeup, or does the bride pay for that? Because
So,
it depends. Sometimes
true.
brides won't pay for that.
So I do hair and makeup for weddings, and a lot of the time, I would say like 90% of the time, the girls are paying for it themselves. Sometimes the brides do pay, like if it's a big production, you can kind of tell. Like
if they want specific things. Everyone's wing has to be a quarter of an inch.
Yeah, dude, some people get so detailed with it. It's so funny. But yeah, most of the time you're paying for it yourselves. And so knowing that, a lot of girls will kind of do their own hair, but then get their makeup done and try to like compromise that way or something, or whatever one you're more comfortable doing. So, but the one wedding I was in where I was also maid of honor, not for my sister's wedding, but for my friend from college's wedding, all of our hair had to be the same, and we did have to each like kind of pay for it ourselves, and we all had the same dress. And I know that's not super traditional anymore either. It's kind of like a color palette, and you can kind of pick which dress you want.
Same color but different like silhouettes.
Yeah, so that's what my sister did, which I think that was good. Anything where you can pick like what actually like looks good on you, I feel like is better. It's kind of a compromise of having to pay for everything,
I guess.
But yeah.
And my favorite thing that we have to pay for. So sarcasm there. So as an attendee, you know, you're supposed to give cash to help the bride and groom out.
Sure.
So depending on the wedding, it could be like a little backyard barbecue to, you know, the upscale black tie.
Sure.
But the mentality going to a wedding is you're supposed to give the monetary value of your plate of food.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to a backyard barbecue, I can give you $20, right?
Right, because we're probably having like chicken fingers or something.
Right. But then, like, if I get invited to a black tie? I
Yeah.
5-star black tie wedding reception. That means I have to pay you $300. But
right?
Can I say no?
You can definitely just not go. I think you can not go to weddings. You can definitely decline.
You can't not
but then
go.
people are gonna get offended. Mm-hmm. But it's also like people still have like registries and things. But I would rather get you like a present. I would rather bring something if like in lieu of cash, I guess.
You can't bring a present to a wedding. The table only has the little bird box that you
put the card in. No, some weddings have like a table, like a gift table. Sometimes.
Okay.
If they don't have a wedding shower.
Yeah.
Like my sister didn't have a wedding shower, so people brought gifts.
She's
But the
smart
issue
lady.
is most people live together before they get married. Mm-hmm. So it's like you already have like plates and like bath towels and all these things for your kitchen and bedroom and bathroom and everything at Bed Bath & Beyond. Mm-hmm. But like, so why am I buying you like a new set of things you already have?
Because I need a new crock pot, okay?
Sure, right.
I want the ones with the flowers on it.
So my sister did have like a bunch of, I would say appliances that she didn't have already. But we're like extra, like you could live without them. But
I need my ricer.
Sure.
I don't know how to use the pot.
I don't either. But I feel like that's kind of problematic as a guest that like you're kind of shelling out all this money and then maybe
Can you imagine showing up to a wedding with like a fucking vacuum?
Oh my god! Yeah, it's like I got you a shark. Here you go, or like a little Roomba. Ridiculous. But yeah, I think we have a lot of trouble with the money side of things for sure.
I mean, you did the research. What Business Insider say?
Oh my God. As of July 2019, they probably weren't able to report on it because last year everybody delayed their weddings because of the coronavirus. But BusinessInsider.com said the average cost of a wedding is over $38,000. And I think that's like lowballing it, honestly.
Oh my God.
That's
you
like
could buy a car. In cash.
Ridiculous.
Down payment on a home.
Right. So I think that's another issue that I have is a lot of people that shell out all this money for a big wedding production are still going back and living in like a 1-bedroom apartment or don't have any kind of plans to look at homes yet. They're like, we'll do that in like 3 to 5 years or something.
We paid for the wedding. We can't have financial stability.
Right.
Well, if you just, sign the paperwork.
Sure.
You could still have it both ways.
Or like budget it. I don't know. Yeah. Or like maybe put down some of that on a house and have like not as much of a crazy wedding.
Did you really have to invite your third cousin's uncle?
No. I think that's a lot of people's families put pressure on them to invite like, I don't know, like your parents, like work
Agatha,
friends.
the neighbor babysat you that one time when you were 7.
Not everyone needs to be invited. Yeah, so I think we both definitely struggle with the money side of things the most. I think another big thing about weddings in general is it's just like a very traditional thing to do.
Which we are not traditional.
No,
She's got blue hair.
We're very unconventional in pretty much everything. So I just feel like a lot of the traditions, especially kind of imposed on women in general, are tough to understand for us.
Even from the pre-wedding, asking for the hand in marriage.
The whole asking the parents thing. Yeah. So before you can even propose, men are kind of supposed to have a chat with the girl's parents and like I guess ask for her. It's just like a weird concept, and maybe we're thinking too far into it. I don't know, but it does seem weird because it's like, why do you need permission? We're both adults.
Well, because it goes back to the days where, like, you know, if I gave you a goat, you give me your child.
Right. Yes, it goes back to the goats. Yeah, I just feel like that would make me feel so cringy and uncomfortable if my boyfriend was going to go ask my parents, like have a chat with my parents. Right. But I feel like that's expected. So
we've been together 10 years.
Yeah.
Can I hang out with her a little bit longer?
We're just going to apply for an extension.
Yeah.
Right. That's
and
that
what if
whole
they say
thing.
No?
Has anyone ever said no?
We need to find someone, yeah.
If anyone
still go along with it.
If anyone's ever said no to the asking for the hand in marriage, we need to know. That's hilarious. But also sad, yes. But it is kind of, it's a weird thing to think about for sure.
Yeah.
I think that
I'm not a very open person.
Right.
So like, no, like I can make my own decisions.
Right.
And, like what's said between us can just stay between us.
Right. I think maybe in modern times it would make more sense if both of you speak to both of your parents and we're like, we're gonna get married. We're just letting you know we're getting married. It's
Here's
more
the
of
day,
an announcement.
hope you can show up.
Yeah, like you have to let your parents know. But I think the asking for permission is kind of problematic. / we don't get it.
The goats are gone.
Yeah, what if you don't have a goat? What are you supposed to do?
I don't know. And then like there's just once we get past that weird tradition, the cringeworthy traditions that go on during either the ceremony and then especially at the reception.
Oh gosh. Okay, yeah. I think some of our favorites, aka not favorites, are at the reception, things like throwing the bouquet.
Garter.
The garter belt gotta go.
Man, like,
let me just go up
let me scroll up on in there.
I can't. I mean, a lot of people that choose to do that, like the groom makes it like funny. Like it's
not
just funny. But it's like cringy and it's like people's families
is very close to her flower.
Yes!
That she's not supposed to give to you yet.
It's not the time.
A couple more hours, then you can attain the garden. Like, calm down.
Ridiculous.
And then everyone's like, oh, no.
We're not clapping.
No.
We're like hiding somewhere.
I'm just like, get me the fuck out of
here. We need to, it's time to refill on your dessert.
I've only done one wedding that had the garter, and I hated it. Luckily, my friends that have gotten married in recent years, that was nixed.
Yeah.
They're smart.
It's terrible.
And then, like, you got your weird uncle, go higher!
Oh, no. Oh, you know it. You know everybody's uncle is shouting stuff. A lot of commentary during that part of the wedding.
Oh, God. And the flower thing, though, like, all the single ladies.
Oh, and then they play Beyonce's Single Ladies?
Yeah.
But you gotta. But you don't gotta.
It's like that. It's like high school gym class where like there's the one person that takes it super seriously in gym. You got the one girl that's like, I'm getting this bouquet.
She's throwing bows to get to the front. We don't get it.
And then the boyfriend's like secretly walking out the back door because he's like, damn, she's gonna get it.
I think I've been to weddings where I was single, like I took my sister or something. My sister's a great wedding date, by the way.
She's a great lady.
Yeah, she is. We're gonna talk to her in a little bit. But I've not gotten up for the single ladies part, like, even though I was single. I just don't want to be a part of it.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I don't
No.
think you have to, but I think it's like supposed to be funny.
Well, I went to 2 weddings where I wasn't single, so obviously I didn't have to partake. And then I went to 2 weddings where I was single, but I think I just told everyone I was a lesbian.
That's a great. You know what? That's a hot tip for all situations, not just weddings. That's amazing. I feel like we should do that more when we're out.
Tell people we're lesbians?
Yeah. And that's like no shade to anybody. It's just we don't like people to talk to us. Male or female. But I think, yeah, as far as traditions go, we're not really a fan of any of them. Honestly, if I had to pick one, the only tradition I'm okay with is the writing the vows yourself, because I feel like it's like a personal thing that you can share with your partner.
Which brings me to, I mean, okay, that's cool if you want to do that. But then you bring on probably my biggest thing about marriage. If it's supposed to be this like intimate, sacred commitment between 2 people, that's like,
yeah, it's personal.
Why do we need to flaunt it in front of everyone then? Like, to me,
Yeah.
it's an intimate experience. So
Right.
I don't need everyone staring at me while I say how much I love this person.
Right.
Like, I feel like it would mean more if it was just the 2 of you.
Sure. So I think we both kind of agree that the whole courthouse
Way to go.
with a witness that you know or don't know.
No, I'm eloping. I'm going to Hawaii. I'm finding that drunk guy on the beach with a pineapple, sipping his little like Malibu Bay Breeze.
Yep.
And I'm like, sir, focus for 4 minutes. Come here.
Just
Nice to
say
meet
you were here, sign your name.
I got your next drink. Boom.
Yeah. Oh, that's like a great incentive for sure.
You need a drink?
Yeah.
I need your signature.
That's great. It's a good handoff. I
Right?
like it.
Come on.
I've always been like a big fan of either eloping in some way or going to Vegas and getting the Johnny Depp impersonator as Jack Sparrow to marry
Only Johnny
you.
Depp, or do you want the other impersonators like Spider-Man?
No, so you can go on the website, which I have done, and you can see who's available. So they have like all of the Avengers and like Star Wars people, like you can get Darth Vader and stuff. But I feel like Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow is my favorite one.
Does he do it as a pirate?
Oh yeah, he does the whole bit. Yeah, he's got the dreads and the bandana, and he probably calls me love a lot and does a lot of this. I need that. I feel like that's hilarious. And like I'll invite my
That's a good
parents,
one.
but like it's not a production, and I feel like that's another part we struggle with is just the whole production of it, and it kind of takes away from it being personal. So, but I feel like maybe there's some people out there that don't view it as like this personal thing, and they want to share it with like their whole.
I want to share my
Life.
love with everyone, and I really want to shove it in the face of everyone that's single.
That's also kind of, yeah, maybe people are just like really excited they're not single anymore. If you've had some bad experiences, I don't know, but we just don't think about it that way. It's more of like a personal thing.
I think it's so intimate and personal that I don't need 400 people to look at me.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's fair. We're going with the courthouse elope option.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, we won't see you there. I'm sorry.
No, you're not invited.
You know what? Maybe we'll do a live stream, and then like just don't tell me it's being live streamed, but you can put he can put the link up.
Right. But don't tell us.
Just
Just
don't
don't
tell
tell
me.
us. We don't want to know.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, yeah, no. And then we have some other thoughts that I feel like should be conventional if you're going down the marriage route,
Yeah.
such as living together prior to marriage. But
Sure. You got a test run. You got to know.
And listen. Do you think a year's enough time?
Before you move in with somebody?
No, if you're like moving in with someone and you live together a year and then you get married, I feel like that's very short.
No. I also feel like people move in together really quickly now, but
Yes.
mostly because it's a financial thing. Like they both don't need to pay rent,
Yeah.
but it's like too fast, and then you learn too fast that you're like not right for each other.
Let's sign this 2-year lease 3 months later.
Yeah,
Fucking hate you.
I know. That's like my biggest fear, honestly. And I really value my like independence / quiet. And I really like living alone. And some people don't, but living alone is great. And I like to be able to go visit my boyfriend and then come back and like get myself together, do my own laundry, just kind of like have my own space. But I do feel like you have to live together at some point, because how are you going to know if you're compatible forever? Like, I don't
How
know.
are you going to live with that annoying tick that you didn't know about?
Yeah.
Infinite years.
Exactly. And I feel like you can get a good idea not living together, like, but not the whole picture.
Yeah.
So I feel like, yeah, you kind of have to live together. And that's kind of like a more modern kind of take on things. Like, people didn't live together, even like my parents didn't really live
No,
together.
as soon as your dad said, yeah, you can take her, he started packing up your high school bedroom.
Right, exactly. Like you never moved out.
Yeah.
Like I think my mom moved out of her parents' house when she got married to my
My
dad.
mom did too.
Yeah.
She was living with her mom, and then when my parents got married, she moved from her mom's into with my dad.
Yeah, and that was in the 80s.
81 they got married.
Yeah. So, that's a fairly new thing because it kind of got like destigmatized, I think, that it was like
Premarital sex.
right. But then I think with the 80s, more things got like lax because everyone was doing drugs. Anywho, but
Late
well, yeah,
60s?
true. But I think things religiously, maybe
Yeah.
like that type of stuff. Like people were like, "Well, everyone's doing it, so we should probably stop caring about it." But yeah, we kind of think that that's important because you kind of have to know what you're getting into before you sign up for it. Yeah. So that's our other thoughts on that. And I think we have to jump in with my sister in a
need
little
a
bit.
counterpoint.
Yeah, we need some help on this. She's been married for over a year at this point, and we just need her perspective to kind of help us out on that. Hey guys! All right, so we needed some extra help on this. So we called up my sister Dana, who's been married now for over a year, but she's been with her husband for like
Happily married.
happily married. We had to find someone that was happily married. The life hadn't been sucked out of them, perhaps. But they've been together since 2010.
Yep, that's right.
So
Kind of like our
going,
marriage.
yeah. So we've been friends for 10 years. Does that count? Yeah. So hey, good to
Hi,
see
guys.
you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So we kind of wanted to know when you decided that it was time to get married. Had you like talked about it ahead of time? Was it a complete surprise? And basically, yeah, why did you want to take that extra step to get married after so long?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we'd been together for a number of years before we got engaged. And we also had taken a lot of, or gone through a lot of kind of life changes. So right after we met in college, and then right after college, we were both working in DC. And then I decided I wanted to go back to grad school a couple years later. So we moved to Chicago and then ended up moving back to DC. So we kind of, throughout all of that time, had talked about, potentially getting married, but we weren't really in a place financially or kind of mentally to take that step. So we sort of just kept saying, like, once we're in a more kind of stable mental place, like we'll talk about it more. So we sort of kept putting it off, and then eventually we moved back to DC. And at that point, we were both kind of well set in our jobs, and we have a good group of friends here, so it kind of felt like it was a good time to kind of think about getting married. And for us, it was really, we already lived together. We already shared, like major expenses, and we have our dog June, who we co-parent. So there were a lot of things that were already in place that I think a lot of people maybe wait to get married in order to have those things, but we sort of did it in reverse, I guess. And then, it just kind of, it was something that we both wanted, and once we were in kind of the right life place, it kind of made sense for us.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people don't realize all those things that you kind of have to go through in a relationship and as a couple. And they're just like, we just want to get these Instagram photos after 2 years. And like,
Let's look pretty.
yeah. And like you need to kind of like have the experience like of living together and maybe moving and going through hardships. I don't know.
You're making a commitment. So
yeah.
You want to make sure you're making the commitment with the right person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And those things can kind of like show you,
granted, really.
well, yeah, they can show you like different sides of a person. So I feel like you need to really know what you're getting into.
Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. And we, after going through all of those things and still being together, I think that really solidified that, we were the right person for each other and that we could really feel confident about taking that next step and committing for the long haul.
Yeah. So you guys got married in July of 2019 on
Hmm.
the hottest day on record for like a million years, which is really
Uh-huh.
funny. Um, so I know you guys had a pretty big wedding, and because Dana's husband has a pretty big family, so and we don't have a very big family,
Right.
so that was a lot of people for sure. So I guess what traditions did you want to incorporate in your wedding, and which ones did you definitely want to skip?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to not get swept up in all of the wedding stuff when you're in it. And like you said, social media has created this whole kind of narrative around what your wedding should look like. And I think that that's sort of like a really interesting conversation all in itself. But for us, I think we both were lucky that we viewed the wedding as like an opportunity to have all these people who have meant so much to us at different points in our life all come together and support us as we took this next step. And that was really what it was about for us. So I guess we had what maybe a more non-traditional wedding in that we did a really short ceremony. We didn't use like a religious person to marry us. Pennsylvania has this type of marriage license that dates back to like the Quakers, where you don't actually have an officiant, you are like marrying each other. So we use that wedding or marriage license instead of the more traditional one. Um, we also, I guess it's kind of non-traditional, we saw each other before the ceremony and we actually read our vows to each other before the ceremony, which was actually really sweet. And I'm really glad that we had that experience because it was really emotional. And I think if we had just read our vows during the ceremony without hearing them before, it would have been really hard to get through. um,
It was
so,
hard for me to get through.
yeah, I know
I was
everybody.
bawling.
Yeah, judging by everyone else's
Yeah.
reaction. But yeah, so we didn't do a lot of traditional a lot of the more traditional like wedding things, I guess, in terms of like ceremony and reception. We kind of just did the things that we wanted to do and chucked the things that we didn't want to do. And I think we were really lucky that both of our families were pretty like hands off. I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends who have gotten married have had to really compromise based on like family members who had a lot of ideas and thoughts and things that they cared a lot about that they wanted to be included. So I think we were really lucky that we didn't really have to deal with any of that. So we could just decide what we wanted and what we didn't. And yeah, it was the best day.
Yeah, it was. It was so much fun. And even though it was super hot, we still had a really good time. And like, I think you had some traditional, like when you think of like weddings in the movies, like type of stuff, like we did speeches, like best man and maid of honor speeches and stuff like that. But like you didn't do cringy things like the bouquet toss and the garter belt thing, which I have seen at friends' weddings, like, you know, it's just modern weddings. I feel like that.
I don't know
I
that
don't.
I've seen the garter in any of
Oh,
my
I've seen the
friends.
garter, and
I've seen the garter too, and it
it's
is a
the
time.
worst. And it's
I
like there's their grandparents. So
Yes.
I mean, my cousin, when he got married to his wife in the early 2000s, they did the garter. But
mhm.
all my friends within the last, 5, 7 years, no one's done the garter, which
Because it's
hopefully we're getting
terrible.
smart.
Yeah, hopefully that's getting phased out and like
It's just, ugh.
it's cringy. I don't know. I mean, maybe some people think it's funny, or like I think another big tradition is when the wedding party gets introduced.
The
Yes.
dance.
Like, yeah, and you have to pick like a song and everybody tries to make it funny, but it
Yeah.
is really just like super corny and also super cringy. But I was a part of one of those. And like I didn't know the groomsman guy that I was with, and it was just like neither of us wanted to do it. It was just super awkward. But I don't know, maybe people think that's like charming and funny.
I like
don't
the
know.
brides that make like a football play out of throwing the bouquet.
Oh, sure. If you're gonna do it, you have to like
You really got to lean in.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, and we did like the father-daughter dance and mother-son dance, which was something that we had considered maybe not doing, but we ended up going with it, and it just, I don't know, I guess that was maybe a little bit of a compromise, but just like small things that when you look back, it was like, okay, that was like one just little piece of like this huge day that had all of these like great moments. So
yeah. Well, I think that also meant a lot to the parents. Like,
right.
And that one's not like too corny. Like that's like kind of a sweet moment and like a good like photo op too. So yeah, that was really nice. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the only other thing I can think of is like, do you think that there's like one person for everyone, or is it just like more of a commitment type thing and you can make it work if you both want it?
Wow, that's a good question. I don't know. I think I think thinking that there's like a perfect person for you kind of takes you off the hook of like putting in the work for a relationship and having a real common set of goals and values that you're working towards and helping each other succeed. I think that, you're obviously going to be, have a connection with maybe one or two or three people in your lifetime. And maybe that's kind of, if that happens. But yeah, I think being married isn't terribly different from being in kind of a long-term relationship, at least in my personal experience. But I mean, it does take a commitment to like maintaining the type of relationship that you have with your partner. It's different than even a good friendship or relationships you have with family members. It's a little bit of a different type of relationship, and you want it to be because it gives you something in return that those other relationships don't necessarily give you. So I think it really takes a lot of commitment and like motivation, and it ends up giving you a lot in return. So
yeah, if you're putting in the work, you're going to get that back, hopefully. I mean,
hopefully if you're with the right person, then hopefully.
Yeah, that's really important, and I think that's good advice for sure. All right, cool. Well, I think you helped us kind of understand the flip side, because we're both kind of crotchety.
Yeah.
So
better.
Yeah. So thanks so much for hopping on with us. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, happy to share, and looking forward to coming back.
All right, so you heard the history of marriage, why we kind of don't get it. Dana helped us understand why people get married. So let's close it out.
Yeah, so, I think right now we want to talk about things maybe we learned, if we've changed our view. And honestly, if this wasn't a COVID year, I would stick to my guns and say I still don't understand the whole production. But maybe, the coronavirus has impacted those getting married in a way that's like, oh, maybe I don't need this huge production to still have this intimate ceremony. I mean, our friends are all getting married and live streaming it because we can't be there, which is great.
I have two friends, shout out Will and Jen. They got married in October, and they had this really cool Halloween kind of themed wedding. It was like a goth wedding. And they had about 15 or 20 like family members at their house, and they got married in their backyard, and then they live streamed it.
Yeah.
So,
which, I mean, you get, I feel like that's best of both worlds for me. You got the intimacy, and then you can invite people to see it. I've had a couple friends that had gotten married, less than 10 people. I was lucky to be at one.
Yes,
on the
I remember
Atlantic
that.
City Boardwalk.
Yeah, very cool.
They had the little intimate ceremony, and then the big the big to-da is going to be next year, and it's going to be a party. I have 2 sets of friends getting married that are doing that, and I could get down with that.
Yeah.
I could watch the live stream and then go to the party.
Yeah, I feel like the ceremony part is what's tough for people
Everyone.
like it's just like a whole thing, and the party's the fun part, so that's the thing that everybody wants to go to anyway.
And if you're having the party, I feel like you don't need the traditions because it's already untraditional to begin with.
Yeah, so there you go.
Just
I feel like that's
drink, open bar. Well, not for you, straight edge.
I know. I'll have my tea.
Can I have a Shirley Temple, please?
I've gotten a Shirley Temple like recently, really recently. It was great. I think it was on New Year's Eve actually. My friend was making them for all of the teenagers, and I was like, I'll have one too. It was amazing. Yeah, that's like my wedding drink actually, because I know they have all that stuff back there. So
just give me all the sugary mixes in one cup.
Literally, that would be so delish. So yeah, I feel like that's a really great option and a new insight.
Something to consider. Yeah. What's after us, Gen Zers? Is that the little ones?
Gen Z, yeah. Because we're kind of elder millennials at this point, I think. So yeah, it's just always something to think about. There's always another way of doing something. And we do get it that if you feel compelled to join with your partner and you feel like that's the best thing for both of you, just go for it. Don't feel like you have to because everyone else your age is doing it.
Listen, I see myself getting married. Meaning signing the paperwork. I don't see myself having the wedding.
I'm not. I'm definitely not having the wedding. I'm having Johnny Depp marry us.
You know, I wanted to elope in like an island, but Johnny Depp is really
honestly.
You
can get Darth Vader. You can get Thor.
Thor's the hammer.
Yeah,
he's the hammer.
Yeah,
guy.
he's the blonde babe from the Avengers.
Did they name him Thor? Because isn't Thor the blonde guy with that rides on the horse? No, that's Fabio. Never mind.
Oh my god! I can't believe it's not Butter Guy. Ridiculous. But yeah, this is the Lady Date podcast, and we'll be back with episode 2. What are we bitching about in episode 2?
Kids and why people feel the need to make them.
That's gonna be great. Bye, bitches.
Bye.